Hi, welcome back to Brady's Blunders. This episode is going to be different in that instead of going through a single position, I'm going to use this episode to wrap up the 2015 Go Congresses and my experiences there. I'm going to talk about Congress in general, and then I'm going to go through a couple of variations that I missed in the earlier videos, and then finally I will tell you what I'm going to do to get better. First, let me give a shout out to Josh Larson and the Twin Cities organizers and volunteers. This was a great Congress, and I don't know how easy or hard it was for you, but for the attendees' perspective, things ran really smoothly, and it was a great Congress. So, really well done, great job, and thank you very much. You know, when I attended my first Congress as a single-digit Q, I was like a pig in slop. I mean, I really love Go, and this was a week-long Go event. And I got to play a slow tournament game every day, which was great. And then I was surrounded by people who were, to some extent, my idols, the professional Go players, people who were so strong at this game that they're able to write books and teach classes and play and win in big tournaments. And having, in the teens or 20s of them around was really awesome. Also, the content of the congresses was just great. I mean, these same pros, you could play simultaneous games with them, or they would review your games and tell you where you went wrong and how to play a little bit better. And they gave classes where they would teach materials and content that weren't found in any English language Go book in the world at the time, and so it was really great. I also discovered that I really liked the people at that first Go Congress, and I mean, I guess it shouldn't come as a surprise. Maybe Go players in general are quite friendly, but at least at the Congress, look, everyone's different and we all have our different personalities, but for the most part, everyone that goes to these Congresses is really friendly and easy to get along with. And I found myself, as the years went on, looking forward to seeing them even more than I was necessarily for the Go. I mean, don't get me wrong. I still love attending Go Congresses for the Go, but I really look forward to seeing the same people each year. No, scratch that. I look forward to seeing my friends each year because that's what they've become. And some of these are friends I see only once a year at Congress, but we hit it off like we hadn't just spent a year apart. And others are friends that I actually manage to see every once in a while around the year. If I'm visiting their cities, I make a point to visit them, and if they're visiting me, they swing by here. Someone came by a couple of weeks ago, and someone else is coming out in just a few weeks. So it's pretty excellent. And really, a benefit I wasn't expecting when I first started going to Congresses were these friendships. If you're at all tempted by what I've just described to attend Congress, I really recommend you do it. Great Go, you can make good friends, and next year's Congress is in Boston, which is wicked cool. I mean, you've got history, you've got culture, man, you even have lobster rolls next year. So it's going to have everything, and it has the potential to be an epic Congress. So I strongly recommend that you come. Okay. I said the second thing I'd do was to show you some variations. Let's do that really quickly. This is the second game, and it was at this position that I couldn't find a good move, so I tanuki'd. However, there was a variation where I could push and cut and connect and play all the way along the second line to connect to this stone. But it was not a good variation because black got too much thickness. But we found another variation. What if white comes back and plays here right now? Turns out black is dead in the corner. Maybe his best move is here. And then white has some options, but white's best moves are going to be similar to the ones I showed before. Because white doesn't have the liberties to pick up black yet, white is going to need to connect out and run again all the way along the second line to connect with this stone. Black will take a few forcing moves and then Tanuki. So obviously this is very different from the game and very different from what I read in the game, because now white's captured the black corner. So surely this is a good result, right? No, this is a really bad result for white. You can't run along the second line with 12 different stones and first line with 4 different stones and think you're going to get a good result. Black's thickness is too good. This is not a good game for white. Still, it's a cool variation, but it's still not good enough. Right. Second game. This is game 3, and this is the game where I didn't wedge, but I showed several variations if I had wedged. And in the video, I said that white can even Hane here. Well, if this had been the game and I'd have done this, this would be perfect material for another Brady's Blunders, because black could answer this way, capturing white in a ladder. And this is an awful result for white. White's going to have a hard time just living, much less gaining anything, and the game is nearly over. So that is not a good sequence for white, and white should, instead of this Hane, just go ahead and extend. And black will run along with white, then white can capture this stone. This is a lot like the variation that I showed in the game, in that white's dominating the left side and black is dominating the bottom. Black can't really move A out because of his weakness around B. So this is pretty much the same as the other one, just without the fireworks. Okay. Then let's talk about what I'm going to do to get better. Well, what do I need to work on? Well, let's look at how the mistakes that I made in these games. So this is game 1, and white just played the marked move, and I was in Byoyomi, but I misread, thinking that if I Tanuki'd, white could play here, and if I captured a A, he could play at B. But of course he can't, because that would be self-Atari. This was a reading error. Terrible reading error. In the second game, I misplayed a Joseki. Fine, that happens. But then I started to play out, in my frustration and maybe steaming, I played out a variation that just plain simple didn't work. Well, at least not as far as I could read it. This was a reading error. Third game, where I extended instead of wedging, okay, that's not so much a reading error. That's more an error of judgment and an error of attitude. But that's okay, because I made up for it in the very next game, where I decided that this group looked safe, and I was too lazy to read it, and was instantly punished and killed. So my playing A, you could call it laziness, but it's also definitely a reading error. But wait, there's more. This move was also a reading error. If you remember, I played this because I assumed that if white played here, she'd either have 2 eyes or connect underneath. But that didn't work here. So this move was effectively a pass and has to be categorized as a misread. Game 5? Well, nope, not a misread. This is just a direction of error mistake. And then game 6, where I failed to identify which of my groups was more important, and then I also failed to identify that that important group was in deadly danger. This also counts as a reading error. So there you go. 6 games, 5 reading errors. Really big ones. What do you think I should work on? Well, since I've started doing these videos, I've done about 600 problems, and I hereby commit to doing at least 20 a day going forward. My problem is reading, and problems are going to be the best way for me to solve that. And I'm sure there's some of you who hear 20 problems a day, that's nothing. I do 50 or I do 100. And the difference is I will wager that people who say that actually like doing these problems. There are going to be others of you here that hear this and think, 20 problems a day, every day, that sounds like homework. I hate Go problems. Well, actually, I'm in your camp. I feel the same way. I really don't enjoy the Go problems, but I know what I need to do to get better, and I'm going to do it. It comes down to this. When I first met Jenny, she reviewed one of my games, and although I won, I failed to kill a group I totally should have killed, and she just laughed. And then I told her after the game, and I said, I think I understand this game. I think I have pretty good principles, but my reading isn't so great. And she laughed again, nicely. And she said, if you played a halfway decent Chinese amateur, someone who knows none of your principles but can read, and you played him, he would sit there and he'd play you and he would say, you have excellent principles. Now I kill you. And it's funny, but it's true. Or maybe it's sad, but it's true. But whatever, it's true. That you can know a lot of esoteric about leaning attacks and good shape, and actually all of this helps your game. But in the end, if you can't read or you don't read 3 moves ahead, you're going to get beaten a lot. Right. So there you go. That's what I'm going to do to get better. I'm going to, as annoying as I find it, I'm going to do a lot of problems and improve my reading. The other thing that adversely affected me at Congress was a lack of sleep. But that's actually a downside of the friends benefit that I outlined earlier, and I don't really know what I'm going to do about it. We stayed up late most nights, enjoying good beer, good company, playing games, and so on, and I don't know that I really want to change that. I'll have to give it some more thought. So I just mentioned Jenny Shen, my teacher, and this is my chance to publicly thank her. Not only is she an excellent teacher, she's also a good friend. And I really appreciate the effort she's made to verify my variations in these videos. And thanks, Jenny. I've really appreciated all the feedback that I've received from friends and strangers alike on these early videos. One thing I didn't expect was the positive feeling that I got when I received a notification in the morning that I had a new follower. This is someone who went through the thought process of, this is pretty good stuff. I think I want to see what he's going to do in the future. Follow. And that actually feels really good. So if you've enjoyed the video, please follow me. I'll see you next time.